Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind Dale, head out the shelf, all Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. We had a week off, but we are back. We are back. We are ready to rock. With me today in the production booth, Sean, community manager for Idle Champions. They're going to be grabbing your questions out of chat. Keep an eye on things. Just make sure if you have questions today, whether on topic or not, it's all good as long as it's about, you know, game systems and champions and stuff from Idle Champions. That's what I can talk about. Put question colon in front, like it says down in the white box down below. And we'll get those questions answered. Because the way this show works, instead of just answering questions throughout the entire show, for the first hour-ish, I talk about the topic, and then in the second hour, I then go back and hit all the questions. So, you know, instead of like holding your questions for the second half, if you have a question, ask it. The question colon, I will get to it. Just make sure there's some context. Make sure there's some context in the question. Otherwise, I'm going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Because it was like 40 minutes ago. Today's topic, we are coming back, we're hitting up Ahghairon's Day again, the second part of the stream, because, look, when it first launched, we just had Rust, we didn't have Ellywick. We covered Rust, we covered some of the champions in the event that kind of go well with Rust, that worked kind of in a formation with Rust, and now we're going to cover Ellywick and the remaining Flex champions today. Just as a quick recap, of course, I mean, a lot of people have already done their flexes and whatnot, but if you have not, you know, you don't have many days left. You can unlock up to 5 champions for free, right? A couple of them need time gate pieces, but they gave you time gate pieces in the daily rewards this time around. So, you know, get your flex on, grab your champions. Event augments this time, daily rewards. In fact, let me make sure. Yes, I have claimed all of mine so far. We got 4 days left. We had multi-tier, which was great. I mean, it made it so that you could do multiple tiers at once, as long as you went far enough. You had to know where they ended. This was a trial run of multi-tier. So you had to know how far you needed to go. I have all that in my guides over on the subreddit, so of course you knew how far to go. And if you didn't, go check out my guides on the subreddit. So I did all my flexes, but there's obviously everybody else is still back here. It is a little odd. Still getting used to the fact that in an event it was always like, hey, whatever champions were in the event, everybody got. And so it's now I'm trying to get used to. Man, I made a mistake answering a question on the subreddit because they were asking about Voronika and I'd done Valentine, and so in my head I was like, well, that was the event champ, was Valentine, and that's the way I read it, and still getting used to that. Months later, still getting used to that. But yeah, so we're going to talk about we're not all of these champions. We can talk about all these champions, but we're going to talk about Ellywick today. She got a rework. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. We're going to talk about what's going on there. We'll also talk about Jim, Beadle and Grimm, Prudence, and Voronika. Voronika. And yes, that's how you say it. It's not Veronica. All right. You know what? We're going to just hop into an Ellywick free play to do this. Do these. Yes, that's the way. All right, let's get some familiars out here. See, somebody asked how to do the code. You know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show you right here. I know there's a how to redeem code, but look, you click on the chest button. This thing in the top right, this lock chest, is called a cryptex. Control click on this. Why? Because it makes it open real quick. And then just copy paste. Just copy paste. It's great. Now, if you're typing it out or you're scrolling with the cryptex, you'll have to switch from 12 to 16 characters at the bottom left. But boom, get your code on. All right, Ellywick, over here in a slot a 10. I'm gonna throw her up here. Jim, dark magic. I do have skins on for some of these. You're just gonna have to deal with it because look, skins are great. This is one of the tag team of Beetle and Grimm, and then we have Ms. Prudence. Throw her right here next to. Well, we can do this like this. Prudence and Voronika. Boom. Yeah. They're a nice little organized line. Almost single file. Single file for idle champions, I guess. Let's dive in, shall we? We're gonna hit Ellywick first. Look, Ellywick is one of the two featured champions this event. This time around, we had two reworked champions. Ellywick's been around for a while. Ellywick was a big deal when she dropped. Super secret, double secret probation launch, because she launched as part of the Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, and Idle Champions 3-way crossover. Because she was part of the Magic the Gathering Adventures in the Forgotten Realms pack, for expand card set for Magic the Gathering, but also is a Dungeons and Dragons character and is in Idle Champions. It was a big deal. The female gnome bard, chaotic neutral alignment, healing support and gold find. It likes most squishies. Well, like all squishies, 5 overwhelm. No affiliation to any other champions in the game currently. Base attack, quick strum. This little icon here, little firebolt icon or magic missile icon, means it's a magic base attack. So in case you're ever wondering, how do I know what kind of base attack? There's melee, there's magic, and there's ranged. She's magic. Ellywick strums her guitar, sending out musical energy to attack up to 3 random enemies. So can hit up to 3 enemies. Again, she's a support champion, so she's not necessarily trying to do a lot of damage. But when you're dealing with like hit-based enemies or hit-based roadblocks, she could potentially, if it's the only thing on the screen, she can take off 3 chunks. That's always nice. That's always nice. Let me level her up some so we can talk about abilities. Ellywick originally, when she launched, and was just real heavy RNG, which random number generation, right? Just really random about whether she was going to be a good for your formation or bad for it. She was built around a D&D item called the Deck of Many Things, right? And we see that she still has an ability built around that. And so the Deck of Many Things is notoriously good or bad or neutral, and that was Ellywick's functionality. Now they have reworked her, and she is way nicer. Just a much more friendly base functionality, and more control over, what happens, like what you're going to be affected by in terms of the Deck of Many Things. So let's go over that. So powerful following is the base buff. This is her support, her main support buff. She increases the damage of champions in the column behind her. So it's just very straightforward. In this situation, she's going to be buffing Prudence and wouldn't be buffing anybody else, right? So if she's sitting here, obviously she's not a tank. This is just demonstration purposes, but she's going to buff the column behind, and that's it. Fortunate Soul is her next ability, and this is part of the gold find roll. It's straight up gold find is increased by an amount. I don't read these numbers off because they're going to vary based off a lot of factors, including your itemization or how you've upgraded sometimes. Always. Pretty much. So, just straight up gold find, that's the number up here at the top left. That's going to determine how much gold drops off enemies as your base gold find. So, there's she's not trying to get tricky or anything. She's just like, hey, you're just going to earn more money with me in the formation. Fantastic. We like that. We like that a lot. Deck of Many Things. So this is where she gets tricksy. She's a tricksy little hobbit. No, wait, she's a gnome. Ellywick draws a random card from the Deck of Many Things after every 25th enemy kill or after 60 seconds, whichever comes first. Okay, so if you're killing real fast, you'll draw cards real quick. Otherwise, it's going to be a delay. Now, why do they have this either or? Why don't they have the one or the other? It's because, like, right now, we can kill things real fast. No big deal. Right? But as we get near our wall, we may want to draw more cards. We may want to draw a different hand of cards. We see the cards up here above her head. And the only way we're going to do that is, at that point, if we're not able to kill anything, I mean, we could go back a level or something, but you can just sit and wait on a level and draw a card. So nice little protection to make sure you can always draw new cards. As you can see, the cards will go up over her head. Each of these cards, each of these colors is going to signify a different card. We'll get there, folks. She can hold up to 5 cards at once, which, as you saw, and most duplicate card effects stack multiplicatively. Cards are discarded when she uses her ultimate ability, Call of the Feywild. Now I don't have her ult. Oh, I do have her ult. Okay, so we'll show. That's right. I do have the ult. This is what happens. So Call of the Feywild, basically a bunch of Fey creatures rush in from the side of the screen, damaging everything, and then they hang out for a bit and then they rush out. It used to have a heal involved. It doesn't anymore. We'll go over the potential effects, extra effects. It gets some bonus effects, but just base, it's just damage. Damage in, damage out. Boom. She dropped all of her cards, and boom, they go out again, and they do a lot of damage. Now she's going to redraw 5 cards. Okay. So this is how, if you end up with a messed up hand, you just basically discard all 5 and start again. Which is fantastic. That was never a thing before. She earned stacks before, and you couldn't get rid of them, and some were real bad. Now, absolutely. Don't like your hand? Discard it. Go again. Okay. In fact, discarding your hand is well, we'll talk about it in a bit. Basically something you should do the whole run. Just park a familiar on her until you get towards the end. Unless, if you're using her to push with. if you're using her to push with. All right. We'll talk about the card effects in a bit. Well, let's talk about. Well, no, we're gonna do the card effects. Okay. Can I even do that from here? I think I got to go into. Let me double check. This is a thing that happens sometimes. They just don't have enough space to put all the information in the game. And so we got guides for that. Okay, cards. So here are the cards. She has a knight card to match her powerful following ability. This was part of the knight card has always been attached to powerful following. That's the one that buffs behind her. So if you're drawing a knight card, that's 100% extra damage, like for the buff. And again, that one will stack multiplicatively if you have multiple cards. I do believe that is the white. Yes. Knight card is the white. So we've got 2 of those right now. Okay. Moon will buff, the moon card will buff Fortunate Soul. That is your gold find. So 100% gold find. Double gold find, basically. That will also stack multiplicatively. Okay. And I want to say that's a blue card. No. Yes. I believe that's a blue card. We'll see in a minute. The Fates is the gray card that you see here before the Flames one. That basically means other card effects other than the Fates are boosted by 5%. It's just a tiny little boost. And if you get 5 of them, it does nothing because there aren't any other cards. See, it's one of those, interesting things where that's basically kind of like a Flames, that's we got 2 Flames cards right now. That's these ones that look like they're on fire. Enemies move 100% faster and deal 100% more damage. Yes, all of these stack multiplicatively. Yeah, that's the downside. Well, people consider that the downside. Honestly, later on in runs, I like it when the enemies move faster because then they're running to stack up on my tanks quicker and it's ramping up damage quicker and I clear the level faster. As long as I can survive the damage. But this is a double damage in a game where, we're dealing with large numbers. It's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. Gems. There's a gem card now. This is one of the new features. All these other things, they were around. Well, there was a gem card before, but now the gem card causes bosses to drop 10% more gems. This is the big deal in her current rework. This has her basically used all the time. All the time. Every formation. I don't know why you wouldn't. I'm allergic to giving this information away, apparently. Look, folks. I've got to change my guide because I had her time gate priority under her old kit as average. Under this new kit, basically you want Ellywick right away. Like you want Ellywick becomes a priority up there alongside speed champions at the start of your idle champions career. Because more gems is more better for you and your experience. Gems are kind of your gem starved in the early and mid game of idle champions. And even just a base Ellywick with just 10% more gems. Look, that's 10% more enjoyment. It's a big deal. And remember, as you get more, I believe this one stacks additively. As you get more cards, you're going to get more gems. And that number, that 10% number, will go up. Like there's item support for that. So yeah, it can max out at 100% more gems. And if you get 5 cards, it's 500% more gems. Yes, please. Yes, please. I know obviously people at endgame, late game and endgame are absolutely loving this, and they're like, why would they give us even more gems? I hate to break this to you. I hate to burst your bubble. This wasn't for you. You get to enjoy it. And we are, as a member of the late game squad. We are enjoying it. This is for new players. This is the early game, new early and mid game players. This is huge for new accounts. I did a new player a new account not too long ago now, and the one thing, like everything in the game now for new players, is like the overall experience with events 2.0 and everything. It's real great. It really supports your progress. The one thing I was saying repeatedly all the time, I don't have enough gems. I'm not earning enough gems, and that's even with speed champion stuff. It's like I need more gems. I constantly needed more gems. Ellywick alone can help to resolve that, even with fairly basic gear, fairly low item levels. It's Is she a cure all? No, but man, makes things so much nicer, so very much nicer. And it's all about the deck of many things, that ability, the deck of many things. All right, let's move forward. Call of the Feywild. So this is an ability, but it's also her ultimate ability. So Call of the Feywild is her ultimate, but this ability gives her ultimate extra effects based off the cards she discards. So there is a strategy, potentially, if you're having issues when you're progressing, to discarding your hand. So Knight, this is for every one of these cards discarded. All enemies currently spawned take 500% more damage from all attacks, stacking multiplicatively. So debuff. Big debuff for damage. Moon, instantly drop 10% of the gold from all currently spawned enemies, stacks multiplicatively. So just, make a bunch more money instantly. Fates, champions gain temp HP for 50% of their max health, stacks additively. So again, instead of the old heal that used to come with Call of the Feywild, this is all champions in the party get temp HP if you're running Fate cards. Flames, all currently spawned enemies move 50% slower and deal 50% less damage, stacking multiplicatively. So Flames was making them run faster and do more damage, and basically it inverts when you dump the flame cards, which is fantastic. It's like when in Dungeons and Dragons, if you're using a speed potion or a speed effect like haste, and then it wears off. This is the wearing off part. This is the I can't do anything for a round. It's great. Gems. Gem cards. The next X bosses you fight have their max health reduced by 50%, where X equals the number of cards. That's the only one where I'm like, really? Honestly, because look, 50. We're in a game with large numbers. 50% means absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing. But whatever, I'll take it. It's fine. Basically, they're telling you, look, don't discard 5 gem cards. You fool. You fool. Why would you do that? Alright, let's talk about spec choices. Ellywick has For the Fans, faster tempo, and all that sparkles. For the Fans is buffs powerful following, so it additively increases the odds of night cards being drawn by 20%. So this is what I mean when I say it buffs it. Basically, the idea is you should be drawing more night cards. And then it additively reduces the odds of each other card by 5%. So you should see more night cards being drawn with For the Fans, and thus get a consistently bigger buff. Faster tempo does the same thing for moon cards. Now remember, that's gold find. So left spec is for pushing, middle spec is for gold find. Okay, right spec is gem cards. So right spec is for basically gem farming. They gave us a gem farm spec, folks. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And I don't know what's going on. I haven't left the house today. Why are my allergies flaring up already? All right. Obviously, I'm going to go gems. Obviously, I'm going to go gems. Because they're truly, truly, truly outrageous. All right. I'm also going to dump these cards. We're going to get a new hand of cards. Because why not? Greatest song in the multiverse. This is why. This is why we discard our hand during our run. Ellywick counts the total number of cards she's drawn in the adventure. Now remember, she only draws cards if she has space in her hand. This is why I said you kind of park a familiar on her ultimate. If you're doing a pushing run, you park a familiar on her ultimate so that she's constantly drawing cards. She increases the effect of Powerful Following by 3% for each card she's drawn, stacking multiplicatively and capping at 1,000 cards. So basically, her buff, her Powerful Following buff, is going to get stronger the more cards you draw, up to 1,000 cards. Now, 1,000 at 3% is a fairly small number, but hey, take the bonuses where you can get them. Take the bonuses where you can get them. All right, item-wise, we have Greatest Song in the Multiverse. Fantastic. Deck of Many Things. Obviously, this is the big one, because that one can control the amount of gems you're earning. I mean, it does a lot of things, but let's be honest. It controls the amount of gems you're earning. Powerful Following, that's her buff. Fortunate Soul, this is Gold Find. Ultimate attack damage and ultimate cooldown, and you really want that fast ultimate cooldown so she can pull cards as quick as possible. Feat-wise, damage all champions. She has a couple that she has 4 that are part of her event tiers. Focus Draw is one of them. It's a damage all champions by 50%, but it also prevents familiars from automatically activating her ultimate. And that's for if you're, like I just said, park a familiar, right? This should work? Yeah, this should work. But if I put it in the roaming bar up here, and I just roam back and forth, with that feed in, it wouldn't hit it. It wouldn't hit it. So it prevents roaming familiars from smacking her ultimate, which we'll see in a couple minutes. She has some straight up gold find. These other 3, this Night, Moon, and Fates card, these are from completing her tiers, her event tiers. It's the only way you can get them, along with this one. It's the only way you can get them. And this basically makes sure that she will always draw one of those cards, unless she already has one in her hand, which makes it, I mean, look, it gives you a bare minimum as you're dumping cards. You'll always have a night card or a moon card or a fates card, or if you put all 3 of these in, you'll always get at least one. That's basically what it's doing, because once you've drawn that card, if you're going to keep your hand, you don't need that feed in. Powerful Following, Fortunate Soul. This again also gold find. So lots of gold find stuff available, which makes her great in a dirty gold farming formation. Greatest Song in the Multiverse. She has a neat one down here. Well, I don't know. Actually, it's a little confusing to me. But I like when they try new things. Decrease limits to draw a new card by 40%. I find she draws her 5 cards quick enough. But I guess if you're trying to, and the real limiter is her ultimate cooldown. So by the time her ultimate gets off cooldown, like I have it capped and it's still 150 seconds. She's got all 5 cards in that period of time. So I don't entirely understand that one. But there's probably a scenario for it. I don't know. They're trying things out. That's Ellywick. I think Ellywick is great. I think Ellywick should be in your gem farming formations, whether it's a standard regular gem farm or whether you're doing a Briv gem farm. You don't got to get real manipulative about her. Just let her run, let her draw cards. You don't have to try to control it. I don't think you want to dump it. You don't want to dump cards. You just let her pick her 5 and run with it. When she gets 5 gem cards, it's when she doesn't get any, whatever. Then it's like your normal gem farm used to be. Overall, it's a big deal. She's great. She's great. Also, look, using her in a formation to push, so much easier now. Decent numbers. She does have the deck of many things because these stack multiplicatively. And the numbers are like, well, yeah, it's good stuff, folks. It's good stuff. She can get some fairly large numbers if you're rocking like full night cards, and you try to max that out. Not super outrageous, but gems are truly outrageous. Get her for the gems. All right, let's talk about who's up next. Prudence. Oops, let's get that off there. But if you note, he was bouncing around and never hit that, so that's that feat working. All right, Prudence joins us from the Oxventurers Guild. She is their DPS. That's her role. She is DPS. Female Tiefling Warlock, Chaotic Evil. So, this Warlocks have a bad rap in Idle Champions because they tend to give them Eldritch Blast as a base attack. It is a very slow animated base attack, as you see it like shoots out this like fire hose of energy. There it is, and then it kills it at the end, and I don't know. She's also got it's kind of the slowest, kind of worst base attack. It's also a very slow base attack speed. 7 seconds for your primary DPS on a single target DPS. Basically, it means no wave clear. She has no wave clear. She needs to be in a group with people who can give her wave clear, or you need to be running like fire breath potions as wave clear or something, because she has none. All right, Hunger of Hadar is her ultimate. She opens a gateway to the dark between the stars, a region infested with unknown horrors. Basically, it's tentacles, folks. Here it goes. Boom. Yeah, that's it. But the neat thing about Hunger of Hadar, we have this on another champion, Warden. It is a magnet. So when it shows up on the field, it sucks the enemies into it from all over the screen. So it's a way to move enemies, which can be very useful. So she runs on stacks. One of her stacks is called Glee, so she gains a stack of Glee each time she kills an enemy. That's the evil part. For each stack of Glee, her damage is increased by 10% stacking additively, and Glee has a 25% to lose a stack whenever a champion other than Prudence gets a kill. So what this means is early on, when everyone's killing, she's not really going to build up stacks. But later on, as your primary DPS, when she's the only one killing, she's just going to build stacks infinitely. And then they're not going to go away. Unless we now have champions in the game who have can do bud base damage. So Prudence setting the bud, it allows them to kill things. So her Glee stacks aren't as permanent as they used to be. But most of the time, she's just going to be gaining stacks as you get near your wall. She also builds Delight, so she increases the damage bonus of her Glee ability by 100% for each good aligned champion in the formation, as stacking additively. So if she is in a party of 9 other good people, that means it's 900% more damage for Glee. Okay. Resolve. This increases the max stacks of Prudence's Glee by 10, because there are max stacks of it. It doesn't necessarily say that, but you know when you start stacking and it stops. By 10 for each neutral or evil champion in the formation. So this is how you try to get like a max, like it tells the max over here. This is how you try to get the max up as high as possible, right? So that she can be doing as much damage as possible. She likes to be in kind of a mixed formation when it comes to alignment. So neutral and evil will build stacks. And this is something you have to know, I believe, for her achievement. I don't think I can get to her achievement right now. Not easily. Well, no, yeah, I should be able to. Hold on. Yes. Watch and learn. Have Prudence defeat 1,000 enemies while she has more than 50 Glee stacks. Now, the key is more than 50. As you saw, mine said 50. It needs to say 60 or higher. So basically it means you have to build a formation that has enough neutral and evil champions in to get her to 60 stacks and then kill 1,000 enemies. So that can be part of it. I don't always build around that, but that is I'll be honest, I don't use Prudence a whole lot, but when I do, or I don't necessarily build around that, I'm usually trying to build the best possible formation, and then I take whatever she gets. But your methods may vary. Frustration. Every time Prudence attacks an enemy but doesn't kill it, so this is near your wall, potentially, she gains a stack of frustration. Frustration stacks increase her damage by 200%, stacking multiplicatively. These are fantastic. Her damage kicks in at exactly the time you want it to. When she can't kill, she buffs herself multiplicatively so she can kill. The maximum number of frustration stacks is equal to the number of champions adjacent to Prudence. So this means when you place her in a formation, you want to surround her with champions. In formation layouts where that's not possible, where you might only be able to get a couple champions nearby, like here there's only 2. The most we could get in this formation would be 3. She's weaker. She's weaker. So she is a bit formation layout dependent. Jim has the same problem, formation layout dependency, or I believe. We'll go over his kit. Yeah, so you keep that in mind. Frustration stacks are reduced by 1 each time she gets a kill. So once she starts killing again, then it goes down. All right, spec choices. Here we're either going for trying to give her a chance at wave clear, or going for enemy control. So Eldritch Torrent gives her a 50% chance of resetting her base attack immediately after she attacks. Now again, she has a 7-second cooldown. So this is a chance, half the time she's going to just fire away immediately again. Which, that's the only way you're going to get any kind of wave clear with her on her own. She Hungers basically gives you a 10% chance that when she attacks, you reset her ultimate. And then it boosts the ultimate damage by 200%. So if you want to control enemies, really, that's what you're really doing with Hunger of Hadar, is that magnet feature. There's a chance here, every time she attacks, there's a chance that you reset her ultimate. So really neat, kind of interesting ideas here. Again, if you're really trying to run her as your primary DPS, which, I mean, that's why else would you be using her? Because that's all she offers. You kind of want her attacking all the time. You're going to try to get her to attack all the time. You got to do something to overcome the fact that she doesn't have any wave clear otherwise. Item-wise, damage all champions, Glee, Delight, Frustration, right? So she's buffing her main abilities. Ultimate attack damage, ultimate attack cooldown. Feats, self-damage, Glee, Frustration, and Delight, right? So again, real straightforward. She has a, kind of an, not too old of a kit, but an older kit where there isn't any changed functionality in her feats, right? It's just, hey, we're buffing her main stuff. Enjoy. Yeah. That's Prudence. Let's talk about Jim. Jim comes from Acquisitions Incorporated, which is, I don't want to call it a full affiliation, like a complete affiliation. There's a lot of people here, but it seems like every time we turn around, they add more to it. So that's cool. Male Human Wizard, Chaotic Neutral, DPS support, and Gold Find. So all 3. Obviously a magic attack, Jim's Magic Missile. Jim attacks random enemies with his own brand of magic missiles. He has a passive ability that used to be a hidden feature, and when he got a rework a little while back, they finally made it public here. So level 0, Hidey Box. Whenever the formation is under attack, Jim hides in a small protective, i.e. cardboard, box, and fires twice as many magic missiles when he attacks. So when you get enemies building up on your formation because you're not killing them fast enough, he doubles how many attacks he sends out. Doesn't double his damage, but does double his attacks. So, once you get the damage high enough, he will wave clear better. Fan Club. Jim loves his fans. Increases the damage of Jim and everyone in the columns in front of and behind him by an amount for each affected champion, stacking multiplicatively. So when I said Jim is very, like Prudence, is kind of formation layout dependent, this is what I mean. If you do not have Jim, if you're in, like in this situation, what, Jim? In front of and behind, there's one champion in front and behind. I'd have to move him here or move him here. And then there'd be, what, 2 and 3, that'd be 5 champions. So he'd get 5 stacks of this. They stack multiplicatively, right? This is what it means. This is a multiplicatively stacking ability. So columns in front and behind for every champion affected, stacking multiplicatively. So in the right place here, we could get 5 multiplicative stacks. And this is the really strong way to do this because this number is a pre-stack multiplier. So this is the strongest type of ability in the game. When it multiplicatively stacks and has a pre-stack modifier, I call that mathematically overpowered for idle champions, or mop. Sean is mopping in chat right now. So this would be a really big ability, but if the formation layout doesn't support it, he can't deliver, right? So there are times where, formations that are I believe his formation has like 4 in front and behind, so you can get 8 stacks, and it's like, oh yeah, Jim's gonna wreck. All right. So just know it is formation layout dependent, but his placement is important because of this. This is also a support buff, so he can also support real strong as well. Wand of Wonder. Every 10 attacks, Jim uses his Wand of Wonder. It provides one of 5 random effects. It can turn a random enemy into a large warty toad, stunning it for 5 seconds, and then slowing it for 10 seconds after the stun wears off. That toad keeps its pre-transformation health, so it just changes its shape. He can turn a random enemy into an abyssal chicken, which reduces its max health by 5 orders of magnitude to a minimum of 10 health. Now, orders of magnitude, what does that mean? That's when dealing with large numbers up here, like E154. The number after the E is orders of magnitude. So if this was a health number, turning into an enemy into an abyssal chicken would give it E149 health. Okay, 5 orders of magnitude. That's great. This was a fix because before it used to just drop its health down to like, I don't know, 5 or 10 or something health, which was ridiculous anywhere in the game and created too many problems. So now it's 5 orders of magnitude. So still, it allows you to push when you're at a level, but it doesn't make it, broken, right? Another effect is he can turn a random enemy into a mimic with 5 armored hit points that drops 10 times normal gold when killed. This is a negative. I want to be clear. Turning something into something that has 5 armored health is rough. 5 armored health. Armored means you have to do a minimum amount of damage to destroy a chunk of their health. And the minimum amount of damage is their health divided by the number of armored segments. 5 is a small, like, that's a problem. Right? Because normally when you have an armored thing, it has 50 armored segments. That's a lot easier to get through. The armor threshold is lower. So this one can be a little bit rough. I know we used to use this back in the day for Azaka farming. It's not worth it anymore. The Mimic actually, yeah, it tends to get wrecked when you're trying to set up a good Azaka farm for reasons, for Krull reasons. And the 10x normal gold, it's nice, but it wasn't worth it anymore. So just know this one can be a little rough. Another random effect, a random ally is assigned one of their skins at random until you change areas. So look, folks, the game has lots of different skins for champions, right? You may not own them, Well, it doesn't matter. If Jim is in your formation, Jim's just going to change the outfit like he just did with Beetle and Grimm. This was not the skin that was selected for Beetle and Grimm, and when we changed areas, it changed back. But he will just randomly say, no, I think you'd look better in this, and then change your clothes. An interesting thing that still happens to this day is it will change a champion into a skin that isn't released yet. So you can get previews of skins that are coming to the game sometimes with Jim. And the final effect is Jim shoots a line of gold coins out across the field, dealing damage to all enemies in a line and dropping one enemy's worth of gold. This one is great. I love when this one happens because it's like, hey, wave clear. First off, wave clear. And then, hey, look, a bunch of extra gold too. Oh, yeah. And none of these transformations will work on bosses or special enemies, like if they added something in special on the screen, or that kind of like barricades or extra bosses added by variants and extra enemies added by stuff. It won't work. All right, yeah, Jim is the master of skin spoilers. Yeah. Magical Mystery Tour. The effective fan club is increased by 4% each time an enemy, ally, or allies' equipment is polymorphed or transformed in some way. So again, we just said he's changing stuff all the time. The Wand of Wonder will change enemies, all this kind of stuff, right? He's tracking this and buffing based on it, stacking multiplicatively up to 100 times, but only on a single area. So when you sit on an area because you're trying to defeat that area, and things start changing and polymorphing enemies and things, you will get more and more power ramping up, which is going to help you clear that area if you weren't, because clearly you couldn't. Now when it says allies equipment, that's a reference to Strix. Strix Bee Stinger has an ultimate where her wand, her broom will polymorph into different things. Her staff will polymorph into different things. And that counts as a stack here as well. All right, spec choices. Dark Magic Cheer Squad. Magic. Unpaid extras. All right, Dark Magic Cheer Squad is, hey, we're just going to straight up buff fan club. Yay. Super easy. Magic. This increases the damage of all champions whose base attacks are magic by 100%. For each champion whose base attacks are magic, stacking multiplicatively. Look, folks, if you can get a lot of multiplicative stacks, that pretty much wins every time. That's just the nature of multiplicative stacks. You're going to have to do your own math, but 100% means 2x. 2x to the fourth is what? 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So that's 16 times the damage. Sometimes that's going to be a nice thing. It depends on how you're scaling with gear and your other numbers. Figure your stuff out, folks. You never know, but depending on how many, if you can keep going and get a lot, it just keeps ramping up and it becomes great. Unpaid extras increases the effective fan club by a decent amount, not as much as over here, but all members of ACK Inc., the C team in the formation join Jim's fan club, regardless of their position in the formation. Now remember, fan club is the thing that gives him multiplicatively stacking buffs. It's the OP one, right? It's the mop. It's the mathematically OP ability. This means you can put Jim in a position where he could grab 5 like this, but then maybe all 4 in the back here could be members of ACK Inc. or the C team, and they're going to count too. And you could get 10 multiplicative should be all 10 multiplicative stacks. So situationally, he even changed his own outfit. Situationally, unpaid extras can be huge. Situationally. Okay. I'm just going to go for the flat number here because this is just demonstrating. I'm just going to leave it here so he can change outfits for people. He can change outfits for people. What else? I think that's it. Ultimate. Oh, Fashion Week. That's right. The effective fan club is buffed also. 200% for each champion with a non-base skin equipped in the formation, stacking additively. Now, yeah. Fashion. Jim likes his fashion. Ultimate. Jim's Magical Maelstrom. Jim attacks all enemies, so all enemies on the screen, with a showy shower of sparks and buffs his fan club for 15 seconds. Boom, that's it. And then goes Jim in the smoke. Jim. I love it. Oh, that was not what I meant to do. Hold on. Clicked on the wrong thing, folks. Give me 1 second. Now, I believe... it doesn't say. It doesn't tell me how much it buffs his fan club. But fan club is supposed to get stronger when you do that. So that basically means that it's just one of those, hey, it's time to wave clear buttons. Item-wise, damage of all champions. This one specifically buffs the pre-stack for Jim's fan club. So this is the really, really good one. Magical Mystery Tour spec choices. Ultimate damage and ultimate cooldown. Feats run the gamut. We got damage all champions. We got gold find. We got self-damage. We got pre-stack fan club. If you're trying to push with Jim in your formation, you want both of these. I don't know why I don't. I don't know. Magical Mystery Tour spec choices. Yeah. Oh, there's a strength one down here. This allows Jim to qualify for Zariel as a patron. All right, let's talk about... I'm going to do this out of order because we're going to talk about Voronika last. You know what? No, we're going to do Voronika right now. Voronika has... wow, that is a skin. Nice. Okay. Voronika joins us from the Black Dice Society. Female Eladrin Druid, Chaotic Evil, pure support champion. Magical base attack, produce flame. She creates a flame in her hand, which she fires at a random enemy. Real straightforward. She has a passive called Wed Then Undead. It makes her count as dead. So she is ghostly. She can attack and be attacked like normal, but for the purposes of champions that do things based off dead champions in the formation, she counts as dead. Calculating guidance. Voronika increases the damage of all champions in the column in front of her by 100% for each champion in the formation that is either a member of the Black Dice Society or evil. So she likes to either be in her affiliation formation or with evil champions. This stacks additively until she completes her Search for the Crown, which is another ability, when it then changes to stack multiplicatively. Now remember, multiplicatively is the good way. So she starts off okay, but if you can search for the crown, she then becomes strong. Okay, well, we're going to talk for Search for the Crown right now. Search for the Crown requires her to complete 3 tasks, basically. When she completes all 3, she acquires her crown, transforms into her Dark Lord form. She is a Dark Lord, one of the Dark Lords. And unlocks her ultimate attack, and her base attack gets better. So basically, this isn't as awesome as this looks, and it does look awesome. This is not her final form. This is not her final form. Now, what are the tasks? The tasks are the same every time. You need to defeat 2,000 enemies with her Inner Circle champion in the formation. We'll talk about this in a second. She needs to reach level 750, so you have to level her up to 750. And you need to use 50 ultimate attacks with other champions. So I'm going to go ahead and park familiars on everybody's ultimates so we can start working on that. So, Inner Circle champion. This is her spec choice. She picks 3 champions at random from your bitch to be, and what you have to pick one of them as your Inner Circle champion. So this means you can't really automate her because you never know who she's going to pick. She is a manual play champion currently. We're going to go Ishii because Ishii is a flex champion in this event. So we're going to put Ishii over here as our inner circle champion. Now, once the Ishii is in, now it's going to start tracking kills. Okay. This is the main point of putting Ishii in, is just to get the kill tracking going. We'll get some ultimate cooldown going on here. But really, you have to put that in. There's a nice little icon here. You can see it's filling up as things work. Like we just got one segment of the crown that filled in, and that's because I leveled her past 750. So as she gets her segments of her crown, it will fill in, and when it gets all 3 segments, she will transform. So now the neat thing about Inner Circle is obviously she chooses them to be the champion, and they gain the Black Dice Society affiliation membership even if they don't already have it. So Ishii right now counts as a Black Dice Society member. So, and again, that's because of things like calculating guidance, where she's buffing based off Black Dice Society or evil, right? Ideally, what you want for an Inner Circle champion is you want the Inner Circle champion to be whoever your DPS is for your formation. But there's no way to reset. Like, you can change her specs. Like, you could do a potion of respec. It doesn't change. It's going to give you the same 3 options. But you have to do what people call fishing, is restart your run over and over and over until Voronika gets the Inner Circle champion that you really want her to have. It's not. I don't find that worth it. But you make your own judgments. All right. Ultimate power. Voronika increases the effect of calculating guidance for each use of an ultimate while she is in the formation, stacking additively. Caps it basically 1,000,000 stacks. So this resets when you complete an adventure. So the more this feeds into the, hey, use a lot of ultimates. You want to be spamming ultimates. Now, you don't need ultimates on everything. You can put ultimates roaming and they'll fire them off. But you want to basically spam ultimates to get her lots and lots of stacks of ultimate power. Because it's gonna start adding up quickly for you. Is that everything? Yeah, until she changes. Dispose of the Fool is her second spec choice. Dispose of the Fool or assist the puppet. I said dispose of the Fool because that's what we're going to do with Ishii. Assist the puppet. This is why you want the Inner Circle champion to be your like somebody that you want in the formation, usually your DPS. She gets the Inner Circle champion gets buffed based on their roles, and champions with multiple roles get all the benefits. So in an ideal situation, it's like someone that's a DPS support and insert other role here, and then you get buffs and it makes them super strong and they wreck, right? Dispose of the Fool is what we're going to do here, which after she's achieved her Dark Lord form, she increases the effect of calculating guidance by 100%, while her Inner Circle formation or Inner Circle champion is not part of the formation. So basically, because we're going to ditch Ishii, Ishii, at some point, and she's just going to go away, and we just get a straight up double buff on that, which isn't as good as if it landed on the right person, right? Item wise, this is it until she changes forms, and it's going to be a little while before she changes forms, folks. Damage all champions, items, calculating guidance, ultimate power, ultimate attack damage, and ultimate attack cooldown. Feats, damage of all champions. This is a cool and extended support. It changes calculating guidance to target the next 2 columns, so you can extend her buff range. There are lots of fantastic uses for this. Formation layout, certain champions that like to observe or usurp, stuff like that. This is great. Calculating guidance, ultimate power. She does have an int feat. This is so that on her own she can qualify for Strahd, Patron Strahd. Yeah, that's Voronika. I was almost like, let's talk about Ishii, but no, that's not what we're doing. Last champion, folks, Beadle and Grimm. This is the tag team champion. Beetle and Grimm are 2 champions in 1. They get their ultimate right away because they are 2 champions in 1. DPS support debuff champion, but they are. This is not it. This is Grimm. Where's Beetle? Well, when they hit their ultimate in a couple minutes, Beetle will jump out, will tag in, old school wrestling style, and Grimm will tag out. So it's Beetle is a dwarf, a rogue wizard. Grimm is a human barbarian. They count as both all the time. They're effectively both in your formation for purposes of that. But yeah, you only get the functionality of one at a time. Grimm's base attack, Giant's Bane. Grimm cleaves through the nearest enemies, plural, with his 2 enormous greatswords. Beetle's base attack, Magic Wand. Beetle bonks a random enemy with a wand, dealing half damage, but then unleashes 2 magic missiles that hit 2 other random enemies for full damage. So a triple hit, basically. Tagging them in and out. When Beetle is in and you hit the ultimate, Grimm leaps into the fray, smashing a random enemy and all nearby enemies before leaping back into the formation, while Beetle teleports to the shadows to recover. If Grimm is in, Beetle teleports to the center of the battle and explodes with arcane magic, damaging and stunning all enemies, then drops back into the formation while Beetle rests. Okay. Oh, there he is. Yeah, see? Back here now. This is their base skin. They've got vampire. They got a bunch of cool skins. All right. So, their abilities have different functions depending on who's in the formation. Get buff increases damage of all champions within 2 slots of Beetle. This is a support buff. Or increases the damage of Grimm by 100% for each barbarian in the formation, stacking multiplicatively, but buffs apply to post-stack value. That's fine. Still multiplicatively. So, support, Beetle is the support, Grimm is the DPS. So depending on who's in, the roles can change, but again, they count as all their roles at once, I believe. Special order, whenever Beetle damages an enemy that is not at full health, the enemy will drop more gold when it's killed. Special order, when Grimm is in, enemies damaged by Grimm take more damage until they're killed, except from ultimates. And it can stack up to 10 times on a single enemy. This is a stacking debuff. I call it the beer debuff, because when you apply a stack of it, a mug, a class mug, appears over the enemy and starts to fill up with a yellow liquid. So we're going to just say that's beer. And when it's full, then they're at 10 stacks. And even when you tag out, it's a sticky debuff it stays in. So you tag to be, over to Beetle from Grimm, the debuff stays on. So you can get the best of both worlds. That's kind of the functionality of Beetle and Grimm, is let Grimm stack up a debuff, tag over to Beetle, everything explodes. Long rest. So this increases the effect of get buff and Beetle's get buff and Grimm's special order by an amount per stack. The resting champion's buff increases 1 stack every 10 seconds, while the active champion's stacks reduce by 1 every 10 seconds. When you swap, the stacks reset. So the idea here is you leave someone out for a long time, they build up a bunch of resting stacks, and when you bring them in, they have a huge buff, but it decays over time. That's the way it works. So what a lot of people will do is they'll stack up one person. Like you'll start your run, if you just want a super huge debuff, you'll start your run with Beetle. You won't tag team at all. You'll run and build up an outrageous number of stacks, and then you swap to Grimm and get a huge debuff. Alternately, if you just want a buff, you start with Grimm and then tag into Beetle at the end to have a huge buff. That's the way it works. All right. Spec choices. As quick as me or as clever as me? As quick as me increases the effect of Beetle's get buff by 100% for each champion with a dex score of 17 or higher, stacking multiplicatively. So very specific about dex scores. You get some numbers down here. I tend to use this one most of the time. And maybe that's just because I tend to run more dex people. So as clever as me is increase the effect of Beetle's get buff by 100% for each champion with an int score of 16 or higher, stacking multiplicatively. Right. So, pick your poison. Chip away versus strongman contest is the second spec choice. I'll be honest, I pretty much always do chip away. It increases the effect of Grimm's special order. That's his debuff by 100%. I tend to use them as support instead of as DPS. Strongman contest is if you're going to use Grimm as a DPS. It adds a stack for any champion to get buff for any champion with a strength score of 18 or higher. Yeah. I tend to use them as a support tag team personally. All right. So yeah, when Grimm is here, we have DPS support debuff. When Beadle is here, it is support gold find. But they should count as both all the time. It's just listing them off. All right, item-wise. Damage, straight up damage item. That one's for Grimm. Damage of all champion items. That one's for Beadle. Again, sword, wand, right? This is get buff. This is special order. This is long rest. And this is their ultimate damage. Feats, damage all champions, gold find, self damage, get buff, special order, long rest, right? It's just real straightforward. They've been around for a while, so they have really straightforward kit. How are we doing on our kills over here? We have our ultimate attacks. We're just working on more kills. Okay. Take these off now. All right, that's our coverage. We will show off a little more of Voronika once she transforms. You can see Jim in his hidey box right now for some reason. Oh, he must have got pinged by an arrow, I guess. Or maybe a magnet pulled somebody in. We got hit. We probably got pinged by an arrow. We're going to take a short musical interlude. This is Ellywick's song, The Greatest Bard in the Multiverse. And we'll be back to do questions. Oh, we got about 14 questions. Cool. So far. So I'll see you shortly, folks.
She's the greatest bard in the multiverse. It all started with a car, with a flip of a wrist on morning mist. It really wasn't hard. 'Twas a lucky draw, could have been real wrong. And then she doubled down. Well, the moon was kind, and from her own mind, she became the best around. She drew a card and took a chance. Turn it back, time to advance. Ellywick, time was strong, didn't know what she had done. Speeding down the plane of rims, with her friend broke and a killer rib. Planes walker, fail on hopper. The music melts, hearts and lungs. She's the greatest part of our time. She danced with the moon and she made a wish, then beguiled the prince of the fae. She won the heart of a dragon's god, and then she went away. She's calmed the fury of all night hell, and brought a demon to tears. She's twisted the mind of a great archmage, with a storm and a wicked sneer. She took the deck of many things and used it to unlock her dreams. Ellywick, tumble strong, didn't know what she had done. Speeding down the plane of rift, the friend broke and killer rift. Planes walker, fail on hopper. The music now talks in lungs. She's the greatest part of our time. She's been to Kryn and Ahghairon, to Ravnica she's been and gone. The Feywild courts were so impressed. They gifted her the morning mist. Ellywick, tumble strong, didn't know what she had done. Speeding down the plane of rift, with her friend broke and a killer rift. Lance Walker, fail on hopper. The music now
Hey, yeah, I only tend to bring that one out when we're talking about Ellywick, which, maybe once a year. But it's a good song. A good song. You can find all those in my guide to Bardic Inspiration. All right, we're still working. I up my click damage, so we'll kill some things faster. We're still working on 2,000 kills for Voronika. But let's hit up the questions list. Foolish Genius. Before the Ellywick's fix, my gem cards were approximately 68% per. Now they're 100% per. Did the cap change? I was just under the assumption that that what got changed was that they stacked appropriately. But maybe there was more of a fix than that? Sean might have to chime in on that one. Yeah. I don't know. I like it. Look, hey, if it's easier to get to the cap, that's even better for newer players. Quite frankly. Sam the Spaceman. I've been trying to figure out how to complete Jim's defeat a bunch of enemies while in his hidey box, but it's incredibly slow going, and I can't reliably figure out how to do this. Any suggestions? You need to go somewhere where it triggers the hidey box like this, and then just sit on that level. As long as you're able to kill on that level, it just requires you getting attacked once. It should, and then he should go into the hidey box. Oh man, and that's too bad because we got his really good skin going on with all the mustaches. But then he should go into the hidey box and just start wrecking. But it's one of those things where you usually, a lot of times, the easiest way to do it is to get closer to your wall, where you're always kind of under attack, and you're relying on kind of those ramped up buffs from tanks while being under attack to kill things, and then then you're just going to killing and stuff, and then you got a speed potion. And, yeah. Ultimately, it's about just using Jim a lot. Like, if you just use Jim as your DPS a lot, you're going to get there. But if you're trying to farm it, you got to manipulate the scenario. Delzaviv says the event buff wasn't active before, and the fixed that too. So that might be why it capped at 100%, because it does cap at 100%. She has, as one of her buffs, the 50% boost for Tier 1 to the deck and many things. Yeah, that'd do it. That'd probably do it. Yeah, because 68%, 50% of that would have been 34, which would have capped you. That would have put you at 102, capped you at 100. Yeah, that was what was going on. That's what's going on. Thank you for that, Dels. Mean Kev, what's the brand on my t-shirt? The brand is Champions of Psychology, Semper Dependent, which means it depends. It always depends. Just repping a little of Champions of Psychology today. Which was a stream here on the Cena Games Twitch. Captain Wiggly, I have 180,000 worth of event currency to dump into chests for either Lae'zel, Ellywick, Russ, Valentine, or Shandy. I'm a new player. Any advice? Man. As a newer player, my advice is to distribute equally. As much as big of a fan as I am of Ellywick and her gems, there is an argument to just put it all on Ellywick to hopefully get really good numbers on her gems. But I'm still going to say distribute somewhat equally. You want to get, as a new player, you want to get your champions. Here's part of it. You want to get your champions up to at least blue or better gear during the event. So if they aren't blue or better, you want to just, buy chest packs until all of them have at least 5 blues and 1 purple. That's how that's going to work out. Yeah. At least go there. From that point on, you can try to hunt for more epics for certain champions. You can go all in on a champion. I would tell you right now, if you're going to go all in on any champion, I don't care what anybody else in chat says, you should go all in on Ellywick, because Ellywick is going to generate more, with more item levels and better gear, she's going to generate more gems for you, and you can use those gems to buy more chests, which are going to create blacksmith contracts, which you can then put on other champions. This is what we call a snowball. Like, you get a gem farm snowball, Usually we recommend this on speed champions that have speed item support. Neither Lae'zel nor Shandy has a speed item that you need to worry about supporting. So in this situation, going all in on Ellywick would ultimately earn you over time more gems to support all of your champions. And as a newer player, you don't need... I don't care what people try to tell you. People will try to feed you end-game champions. You're an early game player. You need a champion support right now that gets you through the early game and mid game as smoothly and efficiently as possible. And more gems on Ellywick would do it. I do like... please make sure everyone is at least in blue and... like at least minimum blue gear out of all of your event champions first, then go all in, right? You don't want to like hamstring other champions just for the sake of one of them. But yeah, the loop of idle champions is more gems means more chests, which means more power. So yeah, she's great. All of them are blues and sprinkle purples. Yeah, that's normally the way it works just from doing the variants, but just in case you got some bad luck. Yeah. Foolish Genius, how do you tell the difference between fates and night cards? So the night cards are white like this. I know this is... look, I know there's visual issues some people might have, but this is kind of a very kind of white card. And if we go to I don't know, if we get a fate one, it's more of a dark gray. So if you're trying to look at it that way, otherwise just come over here and look in formation buffs and see what the cards are, right? Moon is a blue, with the moon on it, right? Gems are green, flames are red, but then it's a white and a gray, and a like a light gray and a dark gray, and I don't know why they chose that, but they did, right? Captain Wiggly, how come some people rave about Valentine? She seems extremely forgettable to me every time I try to use her. Valentine is one of those. Hold on, clear out this question or exclamation point. Valentine is one of those champions that I was just kind of talking about, who is a kind of a late to end game monster, and it's because she has one of those mathematically OP abilities, and those abilities really only show their worth when you have not only, good rarity of gear like epic, but also lots of item levels. And she functions around positional formation abilities. You want to hit her with as many as possible. So if you're only hitting her with like 5 or 6 or less, she's going to seem eh. But if you're hitting her with like 7 to 12 to 15, whatever the numbers are nowadays, it's getting pretty ridiculous. Everything goes to the roof. And not only does it make her strong support buffer, it also boosts your gold find based off that as well. So she can be great, but this is the kind of the trap that I try to warn new players about. Is a lot of recommendations you're going to get from people are talking about that champion when they're fully online. Like when they have gear and item levels. And that doesn't mean as a new player it's going to be any good for you. So I try to balance my commentary based off this. So she may be kind of forgettable for you now, but she will be strong in the future. If you invest in her, if you build around that type of team, right? But investing that kind of item levels early on into a champion. Oh, here's the Fates card. It is a white mask on a dark gray background, whereas the Night card is a white with a light gray interior. That's kind of how you have to differentiate. I wish we could get a Night card. There's the Night card. See, so they are fundamentally different. You gotta get them both in the hand to see that there's a different color scheme to them. But if you have trouble parsing those variations in grays, just come over here. Which it can't happen. and see what you got. See what you got. Foolish Genius, are night cards pre-stack? I believe... Yes. Aren't they? Hold on. It has to be. Because I only have one night card, and I'm at 1,000%. Right? Hard to say. They didn't do a great job of lining this up. I think they're 4 a.m. I'd have to see 2 night cards to be for sure. I think we did them. I think we checked this. Let me pull up my guide. I think we checked this when I did. This has been a little while ago now, and there's a lot has happened in the last couple of weeks to distract me from the Ellywick rework, folks. Deck of Many Things is a mop, yes. So that means her slot 2 is a mop item, and you would want to guild this. I should have dismantled her and moved my golden over here and my shiny here, but I forgot. I forgot. But yeah, it does mop. It shouldn't. Yeah, it is a mop. We tested that before. I'm just going to go based off our testing. Captain Wiggler, are there any early teams that are able to complete Tier 3 for the feat for Ellywick? Look, the way that the event tiers work is Tier 1 is for new players, like every new player and up can complete it. Tier 2 is early game and early game power and beyond can complete it. Tier 3 is mid game power and beyond can complete it. Tier 4 is late game power and beyond can complete it. These are arbitrary definitions, but it's based off like the kind of content you could be completing. So a brand new player, usually, unless they've spent money in the game or they came in off a big giveaway, probably not completing Tier 3, like a brand new player. Someone who is into the early game and maybe dancing into the mid game might be able to get 1 or 2 of these, but probably not all of them. And it's not even necessarily about formation. It's just about your accumulated power. Because you can do it with blue gear, but you might need more item levels. You might need more global blessings, more perks from patrons. You might need a Modron core. Like there's a lot of other forms of power in the game on top of be able to get a lot of favor that are going to help you get through Tier 3 and beyond. So, don't stress too much if you're a newer player and you can't get past like Tier 1 or 2. Like that's basically by design. Elbid, do I absolutely have to get area 1500 to accomplish Rust's What's Lost is Found achievement? Absolutely not. No. So Rust's achievement does say, there's like a reference to 1500. Did they not? They still didn't move him to the right. Sean. Moved. Tell them to move Rust to the Ahghairon's date. No. No, he's just featured, so they're not going to move him. Where is it? Where's this thing at? What's Lost is Found again. Gains 300 of his 1 gold piece riches stacks in a single adventure. Now, the thing about building his riches stacks is usually you have to go... the cap is the area you're at divided by 5, which is why the question was, do you have to get to 1500? Because straight up, that's how you would do it. However, he has a specialization option for this that reduces the... basically, it increases the cap, and what that means is you can get to 300 at a lower area. He also has 2 feats for that. One of those is tied to event tier progress, though. So between the spec choice and the feat, you can make it so that you can go to a much lower area, still get the 300 cap. So use the proper spec choice, use the feat, and you can do it without having to push all the way to 1500. Well, no, they are. That's another thing. Joan of Arc, have you tested Beetle and Grimm with Will for a Carlock DPS formation? I don't know if I did or not. I don't usually use Will in my Carlock groups, quite frankly. Looks like Will only counts the race and class of the one tagged in for Folk Hero. I'd submit a ticket. If that's someone you want to use. Alec, tell him I'm struggling at the center of the universe part 3 for Jim. So tier 3. Alright, hold on. Because I did not flex Jim, so I gotta go look this up. But like I just mentioned, I mean, you know, depends on your power level, right? Center of the universe. Center of the multiverse is what we're talking about, actually. Right? Center of the multiverse. Jim starts the adventure and cannot be moved or swapped out. Right. Only formation slots which Jim considers to be useful to himself may be used, so that's columns in front and behind. So you're losing 3 champions. Right? Yeah. Pretty sure that. Yeah, that's a lot of power to lose. So can't use the front or back rows, limiting your overall number of champions. Yeah. I mean, you're going to be down 3 champions. You're going to need a lot of power to do that. It may just be, like you say, no trials gear present, so no legendaries. Yeah. Without legendaries, you're not going to clear tier 3 of that one. 3 champions down. Yeah, you just need a lot of more power, and you just don't have it right now. There's no real help other than you know, you get it next time. That's really, you know, hopefully you'll have a lot more power by the time it comes around again. That's just part of the problem of well, I don't even know that it's a problem. Part of the challenge of Events 2.0 is that this is a permanent progress feature, and these variants were not designed to go as far as they're making them go. And they've tweaked some of them, and maybe there's an argument that, you know, maybe they should give a little bonus for that one. But sometimes they're tests of how deep is your bench. Sometimes it's tests of how good is your gear, and especially when you're getting to tier 3 and beyond, tier 3 and tier 4. It's really about how well have you raised your overall power of your account with all these other types of power, and how deeply developed is your bench. Oh, hey, we got Voronika up to her Dark Lord form. So now Produce Flame Dark Lord, when she attacks a random enemy, the target gets lit on fire and takes damage for 5 seconds. Way better, right? Way better than just, oh, I hit a random enemy. Ultimate, she moves in front of the party, magically damaging and pushing back all enemies. Any enemies that survive do reduced damage for 30 seconds. Here's what it looks like. Rawr! That was sickening. Good job. So yeah, she gets way better. And then remember, some of her abilities change. Like she now stacks multiplicatively for one of her good abilities. We can now get rid of the puppet. And she can just be super cool standing over in the formation. Yeah, how deep is your bench by the BBEGs? Yes. Such cray. Is it worth it for new players to spend time doing the event and time gate maps? Yes. I've been playing for just over a week and don't seem strong enough to be able to clear more than the first 2 levels. So right now we're talking about the event. I don't know what the time gate came up with, but those are separate. Time gates are separate than events. So yeah, I mean, if you're brand new, then again, the first tier of content is what you're going to be able to complete. So this tier 1 stuff down here. So the stuff that is you complete areas 75, 125, 175. Even a brand new player should be able to complete those. If you're having trouble with like the third variant, the 175 one, usually it's a function of having to get more favor. So you need to go hop in a free play, do a deep push, earn more favor, get some tips on your formation from the subreddit, that kind of stuff. But you should be able to do all of tier 1. And it is very, yeah, you absolutely, when an event comes around, this is how you get new champions and get gear for them. An event happens once a month. On the first Wednesday of every month, last 3 weeks. You want to grab these champions because champions are your power, or a form of your power progression. One of the biggest ones when you start off. Yeah, the big thing is don't be afraid to ask for help from the Discord or the subreddit. You know, you might have to post pictures to show them what you're working with. But I've got guides. Hold on, you can post a link to my guides. There's event guides that have suggested formations. So if you find my Ahghairon's Day guide over at that link, there's a suggested formation that has basically core champions in it. Also, make sure that you are clicking here on the hamburger button and signing up for the newsletter. Put a valid email address in, and they will email you. You will get a free champion right away. Hitch. There's a support champion that can help you, and I have listed in all of those formations because everybody can get him. And then every week they're going to send you free gear. I got this free chest. Yay. And I get free stuff out of it. Yay. Why not? Take free stuff. But yeah, you can get there. Arlum, I'm fully new to the game. Started 2 days ago. Welcome. What is the one key advice you would give to a newcomer? I've got a guide for that. That's my advice. Hold on. Here's a different link. I have a guide specifically designed for new players. There it is in chat now. It's a new player reference, aka a guided tour. It literally has been built and polished over multiple years now to walk you from the start of the game all the way into solidly 2 feet into the mid game. At which point, there's so many different options on how you progress. I don't have a guide for that yet. But yeah, I would say hit that up because what it's going to do is there's a lot of information in this game and you can get overloaded with it if you try to learn too many things at once. So I break things down into a step-by-step progress. And then I have like homework, right? Like there's links to guides that are just for that section. But along with that, look, show up to streams like this one, where you can ask questions. Just make sure you're asking pointed questions because there's so much like a general questions. I could go on and on. There's a whole series of these guides, the tutorial show Gaarawarr's Guide over on the Cena Games YouTube that covers so many topics. There's even one, Gaarawarr's Guide to Getting Started. There's a recent one of those that can if you just want to watch a video of me talking about how to get started in the game, it's up on the Cena Games YouTube. But that guide is basically the written version of that. So I'll pull you Batman. How do you find out which champions can stun? Valentine's second variant seems impossible to me. Well, Valentine stuns. That's one of the ways. But really, it depends on like what you kind of have to read their base attack. There's you kind of have to know the champions. But Valentine stuns. That's why that variant works that way. Basically, until she attacks something, you can't kill it. Nayeli has a stun on her ultimate, a screen-wide stun on her ultimate. There are a variety of champions that can do that, but it's meant to be one of those things where you can only kill what Valentine has attacked already unless you have other champions, right? Unless you have other champions. I didn't have an issue with it, but just use it. I don't know if I used anybody else with stuns. But it's going to mean if you don't have other people with stuns, then your tanks have to survive, right? While they're tanking a lot of people that aren't dying yet. Captain Wiggly, I've been working so hard on events these past few weeks. I'm at 45,000 gems. Why? Since I'm so close to the Human Feet for a speed thing, would it be worth getting that, or should I just dump it into gold chests? Oh, this is a whole conversation about gems. First off, dude, why were you saving them up for so long? My advice with gems is if you got them, spend them. When I'm on a new player account, I am like, I have OC. I'm obsessively hovering over. Do I have enough? Do I have 500 yet? Do I have 500 yet for a gold chest? Do I have 500 yet? I have 500, and I go buy a gold chest. Yeah. So there are times. Ah, man, how do we approach this? I wasn't ready for this question, but it's fine. The way I like to think about gems. Well, don't say that, Bard's Forge. Maybe not. I don't know. We gotta qualify this. There could be other things they could spend gems on that are better. Generally speaking, you gems should be going to gold chests. All the time. Well, like when you're brand new, silver chests until you get green or better gear, and then from that point on, just gold chests forever. For the most part. Buying big ticket items like feats or familiars, if you happen to click over and go to and you I haven't looked at it for a while and I have a bunch, like I've got a bunch, and you can afford it, go ahead and get it. Like for familiars, because they're increasing your quality of life, go ahead and get it. But if you come in and you can't, and it's not like almost there, then you buy gold chests. The reasoning behind this is the gold chests are going to be giving you power. That power is going to allow you to clear content faster. Clearing content faster is going to earn you gems faster, and you'll be able to get to something, a larger person, faster because of that. Now, on my most recent account run, I stuck to that rule until I had developed a speed team, like and developed a pushing formation and speed team, so that I created a rule where if I wanted like a 12,500 gem feat, I was only going to get it if it was a speed feat. And I would only get it if the amount of gems I could earn in 5 days was that much or bigger. Basically, I looked at how much I would just look at how much am I earning in a single day of play, multiply that by 5. If it met that amount, then sure. As long as I had speed potions available, because that's part of it, is like how quickly am I earning it. If I wasn't going to run out of speed potions in those 5 days of play, if I was calculating that into my earning, because ultimately you don't want to start saving up for something and then have that be a progress damper preventing you from moving forward because you're saving up for some big purchase when you could have been buying lots of gold chests, getting better gear on like your core and your evergreens, getting lots of bounty contracts, getting blacksmithing contracts, getting lots of potions, maybe even getting feats out of those gold chests, because there are feats that drop from regular gold chests. So that was the way I would do it. And then I would started with the 12.5k speed feats, gem speed feats, first for the champions that I had, for the speed champions that I had. And then I waited until I could earn, again, 50,000 gems in a 5-day period of play. And I targeted those gem, like the speed feats again. Because that's all. I didn't need power feats. It was either speed feats or if a stat feat would qualify a speed champion for a patron. Look, getting speed champions in more places is powerful. It just lets you progress faster through the game. So I looked at stuff like that. So my thing here is, yeah, you might be real close to the 50k gem feat for Human. Do you have for your speed champions, do you have all their 12.5k gem feats? Because if you don't, you go get those. Go get those first. So getting speed feats across lots of champions is going to be more functional to you in more places than just going all in on one feat on one champion. So you're close. Maybe you might want to save up. I don't know. Does all this other stuff make sense? Are you that close? Like, how long is it going to take you to get those extra gems? And yeah, just don't go all in on one champion too early in your career. Like in the early game, distributing power is strong. It's kind of late mid game that you might start focusing more, but early game and the beginning of the mid game, distributed power is real helpful. This is kind of on topic. Rough Rider, do you have a trick to remember how to spell Ahghairon's Day so others can easily spell it correctly in the future? I think it's just memorized now. There's too many H's. Ahghairon's Day, right? Which we joke is Ahghairon's Day, but I don't know. I don't really have a trick other than it's just so odd that I remember it. So odd that I remember it. The question from... No, we didn't get the name? Oh, Marcos. First time I got epic on my 5 new champions. Nice. Shall now focus the rest of my event tokens on one of them or spread around? We kind of had this conversation earlier. I really think it's real strong right now to if you're gonna choose somebody to go all in on, have it be Ellywick. Have it be Ellywick. Ellywick's just getting her gems to max on the deck of many things. That's her slot 2 item. Is going to help you then beef up all of your other champions, right? More gems is more power. More gems is more power you can distribute anywhere you want via blacksmithing contracts, right? Also going to be more bounty contracts for future events. But if you're trying to build a PFA group like around Artemis or whatever, then obviously I still would go Ellywick before Valentine, but getting Ellywick to 100% gems on a single card is going to be powerful and allow you to build everybody else. Okay, going back. Hakachek just started Modrons. I have a green 10% right angle, and when I replace it with a blue 20%, it stops working. Tried rebooting and still won't work. Put green in, it works again. Is that a bug? It depends. Is your blue directed like this? Like, does it have these little green arrows? Because there's a difference between a directed and an undirected corner piece, any piece. So if it has to be going in the right direction, and it sounds like it's not. So like this flow is coming from the left and it's moving to the right and then it's going up, right? So, but if I switch this piece, this directed piece, with one that directs the other way, it's still a right corner, right? It still looks like it still fits in this section, but the arrows are pointed the wrong way. And if you have to think about it, it's like having a powered pump, right, for water. If the water's flowing this way and I put the pump in, but the pump direction is this way, the water's going to stop, right? It needs to go the other way. It needs to go with the flow of water. So it needs to be this way. It's something that originally, if you're zoomed out, you can't even see. You can't even tell. And when I was in the alpha for Modron testing, and it took me a little while to even understand that those marks mean something. I had no idea. when we were testing this in alpha. So yeah, it's working. It's working as intended. Taylor, you mentioned a Timegate priority list. Is that a private list or something we find online? Each of my I don't do tier lists, but each of my champion guides has a section that people ask for, and I put it in, and I still it's a Timegate priority statement, basically at the top of every guide, and I will either say low, average, or high, and effectively what that means is for a brand new player, should you should you really rush towards getting this champion? Like, should this be like, if you're trying to figure out, like, in a natural time gate weekend, it offers you 3, which one of these would be better for a new player? The high is going to be better than an average or a low. Low basically means you can leave those forever, for a very long time. Average means they're solid, but only maybe later on. Or maybe they're just solid bench builders. Whereas high is like, usually high is reserved for really speed champions that are really good out of the box. And now it's going to be Ellywick because it's a solid boost to early game progress. I didn't put that just into a single guide with ratings because that's a tier list, and I don't do tier lists. I tried once, and no. It wasn't worth the comments. It wasn't worth the comments that I had to deal with, both publicly and privately. People like to message you privately and just, God, stop, folks. Don't. So I don't do this anymore. Rough Rider, do you ever participate in any? I got a lot of questions from Rough Rider here. Do you ever participate in live stream D&D games? I do. I've got 2 episodes left of a little mini campaign we've been doing, a 10-episode mini campaign called The Affairs of Wizards. I play it over on the Dungeon Scrawlers channel on Wednesday nights. I play a dwarven finger waggler named Bandy. Yeah. It's fun. We just leveled up in our last episode. Well, we were given the okay to level up. We were told, yes, you level up now. Wait, you mean you weren't? Oh, I was so upset. Dungeon Master was like, wait, weren't you 3 already? I may have balanced this encounter for you all being level 3. And we're like, we literally asked you before the stream started, can we level up to level 3? And you were like, no. But we lived. We lived. That's basically most, like, beyond the first couple of episodes, all of our combat battles have been like, well, we lived. Barely. Yeah. We started off level 1 and we are now level 3. It's like playing level 1, 2, and 3 characters is rough, folks. It's rough, but we got a good group. We got a group of people who have a lot of fun playing their characters. And you can watch it. I've even got a list up on my specific YouTube channel, which is Gar Plays D&D, and you can find The Affairs of Wizards, episodes 1 through, I think, probably 7 are in that list so far. Yeah. We have nothing about we get some word isn't working in chat. It happens. It happens sometimes, folks. We got our generic questions that are completely off topic. But we're not going to talk about other games here. Oh, is there a reason I haven't bought Jeremy? Yes. Is it a Criddler situation? No. Okay. On new accounts, I buy Jeremy right away, because why wouldn't you buy $1,000 or 1,000 gem familiar? $1,000. Why wouldn't you buy $1,000 familiar? No, why wouldn't you do 1,000 gem familiar? Yeah. Looking Rider, can we have a sneak peek of what next week's tutorial show is about? Huh. Well, now I gotta go look. I gotta go look up next week's tutorial show. I mean, I can tell you right now, we had a different tutorial show planned for this week, but things changed. Sneak peek for next week. Yes. So August 31st, next Saturday, the tutorial show will be talking about at least one champion that got talked about today. There you go. There's your sneak peek, folks. Nizkis in Ellywick. With Ellywick, how does the fate card interact with the gems card? I mean, it would give it a 5% boost unless it's maxed, right? Like a cap is cap. 100% is cap. It can't go over cap. But if it's below cap, it would boost it 5%. Multiplicatively. Rough Rider, what was this week's topic going to be? Good question. Oh, I can't talk about that because it was so important. We've rescheduled it. Dylan and I sat down and just, obviously we had to make some adjustments because the streaming schedules changed here, and we were off a week, and then we had to move some stuff around. What was going to be this week is now going to be maybe September 21st. Yeah. Hawkajugs, nerds, a raven familiar, or more gold chests. Oh. Look, I don't personally prescribe a lot of value to nerds. Nerds are like an Artemis formation thing, or if you want to go niche Willy Wonka. But there are a lot of gems. I mean, it's kind of, I would either go the familiar or more gold chest. I mean, at that point, if you've got enough for the familiar, you might as well get the familiar. I don't think nerds are worth it. But it's kind of going to depend. Like, do you need, like, what are you struggling? Do you need potions? Do you need? You're going to get a lot of gold chest feats out of 100,000 gems worth of gold chests. Well, I can't say a lot. You're going to get some. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what kind of progress you want, basically. At that point, it starts becoming very, subjective. Shark Rat. Fun fact. The best piece of loot I've gotten in the entire Affairs of Wizards game, I got in the last episode. I looted a dead rat purse. It's a purse made out of a dead rat. It looks like a dead rat. It's now a little charred. It's now a little burnt. For reasons. But it looks like a dead rat. For my character, this is the best thing ever. I'm so excited. Yeah. So, Shark Rat. So for Ellywick, how do you get the gem card to 100%? It's equipment. So the slot 2 item, which is Feywild Blade, if you have the epic. But slot 2, whatever it is the Deck of Many Things item. So the higher the rarity and the higher the item level, the bigger the boost in terms of the gems that it's going to provide. So I'm at, mine's, I guess, maxed. Well, between that and right now there's a buff for the Deck of Many Things, which would boost it 50%. I'm sitting at max. That's kind of how you max it out. At 100%. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to have it maxed right away. That's a long-term project. But, the higher it is, the more gems you're going to get off bosses. And so feeding some into that is good. Like when I was doing my most recent new player count, I boosted like speed champions to get in them and my pushing group up to like an average item level of 50. And I found that was a good amount of distributed power. And that would definitely be something I would recommend for an Ellywick, so that you can earn more gems. Like right there, right along with speed champions, Ellywick should be right there because you boost speed champions to earn more gems. Ellywick does the same thing without being a speed champion. So every bit is important. That's going to be it for today, folks. There are no more streams this weekend. Streams should resume on Tuesday. That's usually when streams happen. start happening again on everything's changed a little bit. There's like there's not a lot of streams anymore, folks, on this channel. That should be Mars's Guiding Hand Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, I believe is the plan. Sean has a stream Wednesday afternoons. Dev Insights Thursday afternoons. Community Q&A is supposed to be Friday, and then me on Saturday. That's the new streaming schedule for CD Games. However, I stream Idle Champions on Mondays and Fridays, or excuse me, Mondays and Wednesdays. Wow, Gaarawarr. Mondays and Wednesdays, in a show called Idle Chatter. Stop by, hang out. I'm on this account doing something. Sometimes we make brand new guides on stream. Sometimes I update old guides on stream while we're playing, but I'm always available to ask questions too while we're on stream on Mondays and Wednesdays. The other times I go live on my channel, we play other games. Like this weekend, this week we played. We did the new DLC for Dredge. It was great. It's called the Iron Rig. I'm playing a game right now, a little cozy game called Graveyard Keeper. I keep wanting to call it Dungeon Keeper. Graveyard Keeper, which, you know, if you ever played Stardew Valley, this is basically Stardead Valley. We'll be playing some more of that in about an hour-ish. I'm going to go grab lunch and then fire up the stream. So you can always come hang out and join the community over there. And if you want to ask Idle Champions questions while I'm playing Graveyard Keeper, it's all good. It's all good. Thank you to all of you for showing up and asking questions. Thank you to Sean for joining me and grabbing all the questions. The song we're going out on, oddly enough, in my Wednesday D&D game, Orcus and the Raven Queen have featured prominently. I did not know this was going to happen, but you better believe I brought that Idle Champions lore in about Orcus and the Raven Queen being secret lovers. So this is the song, My Sweet Raven Queen. Have a great weekend, folks.
I was summoning an army of dead while you were feeling mortal hearts with your dread. Then I looked into your eyes and I knew we had to be together. Is our hatred just mistaken love? Our fighting merely passion and lust? Then you gazed into my soul and we knew that we could roll forever. Secret lovers undercover on the lands of hell. You know I miss your sweet kiss when I'm in the abyss. Why don't you come out of the shadow and veil? My sweet Raven Queen, you're the one I wanna be with tonight. We make a show of fighting face to face, but at night I only want your embrace. You made my dead heart beat and you trapped me with a feather. Let me put my wand to the side, and behind that mask where you hide, we will gaze across our time and know what's yours and mine, a treasure. Secret lovers undercover on the land of hell. You know I miss your sweet kiss when I'm in the abyss. Why don't you come out of the shadow and veil? My sweet Raven Queen, you're the one I wanna be with tonight. None of them can see what you're worth, don't understand you the way I do. I've seen the pain beneath, and it's one that I will release for you. Sweet secret lovers undercover all the lands of hell. My sweet Reverend Queen, you know I really mean it. My sweet Reverend Queen, I know that you believe it. My sweet Reverend Queen, you're the one I wanna be with tonight.